Located within Butetown, a district and community in the south of the city of Cardiff, the capital of Wales. I initially started looking at the community services to understand what it's available for the people living there, as well as the transportation, such as train stop, bus stops, and car parking, to understand how well connected the site is. I've also looked at some points of interest to have a better understanding of the surrounding spaces of the site and the green spaces, because when I went to Butetown, I realized there's not a lot of green space, and I wanted to change that. I also done a Butetown walk through the neighborhood, and certain spaces have caught my attention and made me understand the architecture within the neighborhood. And I've realized the site is surrounded by brick and stoneworks, varying color but mostly resembling shades of red and gray. And we as a design studio have designed a site model, and it's scale 1 to 500, and it has allowed us to use models such as this one and put it within its content and see if it's working. For the concept, I've wanted to integrate an exterior garden, a coffee shop, and a roof terrace to the design, as well as understanding that the building is actually designed for young professional people, and what would make it this to be for young professional people from generation. I've looked at the building area, and then I started creating gaps for the neighboring buildings windows, and then I started breaking it down to allow light to penetrate through those windows so I don't affect the neighboring buildings. And then the final form was also shaped by apartments created. Spaces dimensions was my understanding of what is required for every single space to have. And I've used Scott Browning's building as an inspiration for my central atrium, which is made out of glass, and it is due to this. This is due for the exterior garden to feel bigger, as well as creating transparency between spaces, allowing for easier neighborhood connections to be made. And I've also got inspired by Habitat 67, which is formed by placing 8 shapes covered on top of each other. And I've used this into my design by creating these little shapes, which were to resemble the apartment, and until I got to a form that was working with the site. I've also got structural precedent, which initially they use concrete and beam structure, but I use steel. But this has made me understand how I wouldn't be able to use a beam structure, a timber beam structure within my design, because it's not strong enough, and I didn't want to use concrete due to its sustainability. And these are my plans developments. These are the last 3 stages, and it shows how I've changed the community rooms, how I got rid of hallways to no-way space, and how I had to change the staircase. Due to the extruded spaces within my design, I didn't want to once again waste space, so I created balconies for people to have an extra space that they can enjoy. The ground floor plan is made of a coffee shop, community room, bicycle storage, waste management space, and a central atrium and 3 apartments. The circulation of the ground floor is a bit more special due to the parallel windows created for an ability to see through the whole ground floor. And this had atmospheric drawing of the coffee shop and the community room and what they would integrate within the space. And these are the ground floor apartments, which have an open plan kitchen living room, 1 or 2 bedrooms, 1 office space, and a bathroom. These are the first, second, third, fourth floors, and the 5th floor contains 3 apartments and a public terrace available to the residents. The apartments are made of 1 bed or 2 beds, each including an office space, a bathroom, open plan kitchen living room. And this is a library. The library is located within the 1st floor, and it is for people to be able to get out of the house, out of the apartment, and integrate people while still working and doing their research. And this is me thinking about the materials and how the structure would work. And then most of my materials are recyclable or natural, and I've also used the steel beam structure because it allowed for the creation of my atrium due to its longer steel beam spans, and it can support heavier loads. Daylight analysis. My windows are pretty big in size, and that's due to the building facing west. I wanted to allow the building to get as much light penetrating through as possible. And the ventilation is natural for the windows, but it creates a stack effect. So I've also decided to incorporate roof vents to allow natural ventilation throughout the building, throughout the atrium. Building services. I've also incorporated solar panels within my design, and this is mostly looking at how the sun penetrate through the windows, the waste management, and the windows, how they open. Greenery. There is green space in front of the building as well as the back of the building, which allows for people to have a better living experience. And this is the design of the terrace. I wanted to incorporate a barbecue area, sofas for people to get out there, to invite friends, and have a bit of socializing. And this is the building in context. Thank you very much.